Welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. You are very, very welcome. So if you watched the last episode that I believe I dropped last week, you would have seen where I talked about the sexual harassment claims made by Senator Natasha Uduaghan against Senate President Akpabio, and this occurred in the Nigerian Senate. The sexual harassment allegations were basically, she explained all the things which he did to her that allegedly fall within sexual harassment, and as a result of her filing her petition and speaking up, she has been receiving a lot of hate and has been punished, and it's all alleged, but a lot has happened. I stated my very clear opinion. In as much as the allegations are all still allegations, so it's all alleged. Being a Nigerian woman myself, sexual harassment, unfortunately, is incredibly common in Nigeria and in Africa. And not only is sexual harassment itself very common, it is also accepted. It is culturally accepted. It's culturally okay. So it's very, very brave of this female senator to come out and speak up and say what happened to her and stand her grounds, because oftentimes African women, when you do that in Africa, when you do that in Nigeria, you get punished. In fact, because of her speaking up, she has been suspended. It's all alleged. They claim it's not because she spoke up, but yeah, you're right. She has been suspended. She has been humiliated. She has been punished in ways that you cannot even think of. That is why people like me, other Nigerians in the diaspora, some Nigerians in Nigeria, even non-Nigerians, all decided to speak up on this issue and try to raise awareness about it. Luckily, at least one positive thing that has been happening is that it has gotten a lot of international media attention. So she has been called for an interview from BBC. She did an interview on BBC. She did an interview on, I believe, Sky News, DW News, and I'm sure other platforms as well. So the story is getting a lot of international recognition. She is not backing down. She is standing her ground. Of course, Senator Akpabio, the Senate President, nothing has happened to him. He hasn't resigned. He hasn't apologized. He hasn't anything. Even though the allegations are still allegations, no real investigation has taken place either. So it's almost like they're not even trying to pretend that they're actually trying to do something about the allegations made against them. I included a clip from one of the interviews that she did, which I want you to watch so you can hear directly from her what has been happening and just hear from her, because it's a story that is incredibly touching.
Well, the senator who made that complaint joins us now live from Abuja. Natasha Akpoti, welcome to DW. What do you say happened between you and the Senate President to prompt your complaint?
Thanks so much for having me on your show. And it all started about a year ago, where the Senate President made sexual advances at me. He also has publicly made sexual remarks, whereby last year on the floor of the Senate, he shot me down during a debate saying that I am not in a nightclub. And then because I refused to yield into his demands, malice developed. And from that malice, he denied me several rights. I was denied speaking on the floor. I could not raise my motions. I couldn't participate in debates. And I was removed for a number of international activities. So all of that went on, and I was still silent, thinking that in the process of holding everything up, he would discover his wrong, recognize me as his colleague, and let me work. But no, it got worse. On the 4th of February this year, he removed me as chairperson of the Committee on Local Content. And 2 weeks after, he, in a bid to take away my visual presence in the Senate, he moved my seat to a far corner. And that was where all broke loose. I lost it. I couldn't take any more of his attacks on me. And I spoke out on the floor. I refused to take to the seat that he had moved me to. And from then, I opened up to my husband, which was very difficult to do because the Senate president was good friends with my husband at that time. But I had to manage a whole lot of this for 1 whole year. So I opened up to my husband. I said, listen, this is what I have been going through. I have been going through sexual harassment, and it has impacted negatively on my ability to work as a duly elected senator. And that was when I went open on the 28th of February this year on the television station named Arise, and I let my story out.
Okay. So the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, denies your accusations. What happened when you submitted this petition complaining about his behaviour?
Of course, he's going to deny. Most wrongdoers would deny because it's a taboo for Nigerian women to speak about being sexually harassed. I mean, we have a culture that shames women about our bodies and speaking about sexual harassment, even though it's it's a form of violence here against women, but many women don't speak about it because there's no platform to air such complaints. But what happened? On the 5th of March, on the 5th of March 2025, I submitted formally a report on sexual harassment against the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio. But what happened? The very next day, I was suspended for 6 months with gruesome conditions, that all my security was taken away from me. I was not to be near the National Assembly for the 6 months of my suspension, that I was supposed to cease presenting myself as a senator locally and internationally. And that, I think, it's really wrong. It's not constitutional because the fact that I'm suspended illegally does not in any way take away my legitimacy as a senator. The Senate President did not elect me. None of the senators that elected me. My constituents voted me as a senator. And for me to be slammed with such conditions, which other senators that were suspended were not given such conditions.
Understood.
So that actually shows the amount of vendetta that I have had to deal with.
And can you explain to us what Senate authorities told you about why they were suspending you?
They summed it up to say I was suspended for gross misconduct as against my allegation of sexual harassment. But I believe that I was suspended to silence me from speaking forth, more like punishing me and setting an example so that no other woman would dare speak on such things, especially against powerful men. So they say I was suspended for gross misconduct. And I ask, what exactly amounts to the gross misconduct? Was it because I refused to move my seats? We have, there were videos that popped up whereby the same Senate President in the 8th Assembly years back, he also had a brawl in the chambers because his seat was moved when he was not duly notified. And his countenance there was actually much more. In the Nigerian Senate, we have had senators gone physical on themselves, shouted, insulted, cursed, and even threw items at themselves. They were not suspended. So why me? I think I am just victimized. And that's the bigger picture of how women are treated in politics in Nigeria.
And could I just
let me say this. Let me say this, very important. I am not the first woman to have accused the same man, Senator Akpabio, of sexual harassment. There is a lady in the corporate arena about 3 years ago. Her name is Joy Nonie. She was the MD of NDDC. She actually spoke that she had to slap him when he tried grabbing her in a hotel. So this is not an isolated case. But again, I'm saying this. I would want the courage that I have gotten to speak about this societal vice. I want it to be taken serious because there are a lot of women who are suffering, not just in politics, not just in the corporate arena, but in universities and many places. Women are sexually harassed and there is no safe spaces for us to vent and seek justice.
Okay, thank you for that. And of course, Godswill Akpabio is not here to defend himself against that accusation you made there. But we thank you for joining us and outlining the case that you made. Nigerian Senator Natasha Akpoti, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Protests have been ongoing. And that is something else that has happened recently as a result of this case. A lot of people have decided to come out publicly in support of her, which, mind you, this is a very, very interesting development because before now, sexual harassment has never been taken so serious in Africa. So for Nigerians to really come out and be like, no, we're going to protest in defense of this woman, it's a very huge step forward. However, we still have way more steps forward to take because there's a lot that has to happen. This is just the beginning. I hope it's like the beginning of something big and the beginning of something better. The beginning of us having those conversations that have to take place for Nigeria to get better, for Africa to get better. We have so many things that make us great, so many things that make us unique, but we also have things we need to improve on and work on. And like I always say on this show, and I always say to people that know me, just because something is culturally acceptable doesn't make it okay. We need to stop being prisoners of our culture and instead embrace the good sides of our cultures and work on changing the things that need to be changed so that we can get the best of both worlds. But if we are prisoners of our culture, we will never grow. We will never become what we're meant to become, because we're letting things and views and ideas that don't favor us control us, instead of us being the authors and saying, no, we're going to rewrite this part because this part doesn't sound right to me. And the idea that women can be sexually harassed with no consequence is one of those things we need to change. The idea that a man can just walk up to a woman and say whatever he feels comes out from his mouth at that moment, or act inappropriately towards her, and it's okay. No. All of that needs to change. Many other things need to change as well, but let's start from there. And I want all of you, no matter where you live, no matter whether you're African or not, help in joining this movement. Help in joining this awareness that we're trying to create. Share this video, share the message. Let people hear Senator Natasha and hear what she's going through. Let people's voices be heard. Let her voice be heard. Let the voices of women in Nigeria that have been experiencing what she has been experiencing for years and have never been listened to finally be heard, so that we can all grow and be better together. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I love you so much. God bless you, and see you in the next episode. Mwah.